Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com. I'm making some rhubarb crisp, but I'm also preserving some rhubarb. Now, a lot of people preserve their rhubarb by just simply cutting it up, putting it in a plastic container, and sticking it in the freezer. Now, at some point in the winter or the following spring, they thaw it out and use it for something. And that works, but it does degrade in flavor over time because, as was explained in one of my podcasts with an expert on this sort of thing, even in a freezer, food can continue to degrade. There's enzymes in the vegetables, and they continue to break down the vegetable, and it degrades in flavor over time.
Usually when you are freezing vegetables, you will blanch them to stop the enzyme activity. Now, if you're only going to freeze, let's use corn as an example. If you're only going to freeze that for a month, you might get away without blanching it, especially with the super sweet varieties of sweet corn, which have a lot of natural sugar,
Right.
and sugar slows the enzyme activity. But if you want to freeze your corn or any vegetable for 3 months, 6 months, a year, you're going to have a better quality by blanching it than chilling it and freezing it.
Some people can't tell the difference. Some people can. If you're one of those people, or if you care about that sort of thing and you want your rhubarb to retain its flavor as much as possible, and remember, this is not something you use as a fresh vegetable. This is usually rhubarb you make a sauce, or you make a cooked dessert or a jam, that sort of thing. So, I usually make rhubarb crisp. I've got videos on how to do that. So all I do to preserve it is I put this is the amount of rhubarb that I need to make one batch of rhubarb crisp. Okay, and it's 4 to 5 cups, right? So I got 5 cups of rhubarb here with a half a cup of sugar. That's the filling portion of a rhubarb crisp. This all depends on what you use it for, but I use it for rhubarb crisp, right? So all I do is I heat it up in a pan. I got one working over here as well, right? And I just do that till the rhubarb has gone soft. Okay, that way I know it's been heated enough that I've killed whatever enzymes are there. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes, that sort of thing. You can tell it just loses its structure and starts to become like a sauce. Remember, when you make rhubarb crisp, the filling, there's no texture to the filling of a rhubarb crisp. The rhubarb cooks long enough and it goes soft, right? So it doesn't matter that you're turning this into a kind of the rhubarb version of applesauce, which is kind of what you're making, an unbelievably tart applesauce. So all I do is I heat it up, cool it down, stick it in the plastic container, put it in the freezer. The combination of heating it up to kill the enzymes that are in the rhubarb and adding a little bit of sugar, right? The sugar is a preservative, just like a freezer jam, right? Helps to maintain the flavor of the rhubarb. You can do this without adding the sugar, but it'll store better if you add the sugar. And of course, if you're making rhubarb crisp, it's better if the filling has a little sugar. Again, the ingredients here: 4 to 5 cups for rhubarb, half a cup of sugar, just white sugar. You can use whatever sugar you like. I wasn't going to make a video about this. I thought just one of those things I don't normally show people, that I don't think a lot of people know. Because I think a lot of people just cut it up and stick it in the freezer, and they don't think about how, any sort of cut vegetable or fruit or whatever, this is a vegetable technically, I guess, it's the stalk of the rhubarb, can degrade over time by virtue of the enzymes working on it. It degrades very slowly, but if you forget about that in the corner of your freezer and notice it the following March, right? We harvest rhubarb in May usually, right? You're going to have a degradation of flavor. So the best way to hang on to that is to this. You can also, if you heat it like this and do everything right, you can store it in mason jars and can it, and you can save room in your freezer by just, if you do everything properly, right? You can just tuck that away in a mason jar, heat it up to the proper temperature for the proper amount of time, leave it on the shelf, and take it out of that jar when you want to use the sauce to make a filling for a rhubarb crisp. That's all you got to do. I can see this is already starting to go, and since I've only got one hand to operate this camera, I'm just doing a little short quickie video. That's all I got to say about that. When this is all done, I'll just, once this is done and it's cooled down, I stick it in one of these, and it'll be in the freezer for when I'm in the mood for some rhubarb crisp. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.